Welcome to PVTV English edition. In this program, the state of play in Myanmar. We are going to deliver current affairs review by PVTV. So that our friends around the world who are craving for democracy and human rights get a better understanding of the actual footage of the situations in Myanmar. So please tune in to our program.
Февраля началась специальная военная операция на Украине.
Military and economic ties between two evil terrorists. We, civilians of the member state of the United Nations, decided to save our future generations from catastrophic effects of the war. That's what it says in the earlier part of UN Charter. It continues to describe conditions and principles which need to be followed by its member states to prevent armed conflicts around the world. We will be talking here about the economic and military ties of two war evils who have no regards to the agreements of UN Charter. One who has been slaughtering his own civilians and the other who executed an invasion into another country in the expense of its people. Between these two war evils, one who kills his own king and the other who kills the people from its neighboring country are making their support to each other officially known. President Putin, who has been very supportive of the murders and atrocities committed by the terrorist leader Myanmar to its own people, is now invading Ukraine and killing Ukrainians. And while the whole world has been taking actions in condemning and sanctioning against the acts of President Putin, there is one who made an official announcement in claiming that he stands by and supports President Putin.
Russia နိုင်ငံအနေနဲ့နိုင်ငံရဲ့အချုပ်အခြာအာဏာတည်တံ့ခံရေးစီကိုလှုပ်ဆောင်ခဲ့တဲ့လှုပ်ဆောင်တဲ့လှုပ်ဆောင်ချက်လိုပဲမြင်ပါတယ်
It's none other than the leader of the terrorist regime from Myanmar. Soon, there will be another thing shared between these two leaders. Myanmar, who has been prosecuted at the ICJ, is going to have a partner real soon, as Ukraine brought the case upon Putin to the ICJ, and ICJ has begun its investigation on the case. Currently, the world has collectively imposed coordinated strong sanctions against Russia's President Putin alongside his standing economic conglomerate or oligarch. For instance, Roman Abramovich, the Russian oligarch who is believed to be a close confidant of President Vladimir Putin, came to announce that he is selling Chelsea Football Club. The point we are trying to make in this episode is simple and clear. By reporting the partnership and ties between these two war evils, we aim to accelerate and mobilize in advocating to take measures on the terrorists who murdered his civilians without mercy. There are plenty of brave and valuable young people who gave their lives throughout in this one-year period of Spring Revolution. While this has been the reality of the youths within the country, on the other end of the rope, the children of the terrorist regime leader and war criminal Myanmar and its SAC council members are enabling them to study in foreign countries and enjoy their lives. This is also one of the factors where the international communities should impose necessary sanctions accordingly. It is important to do so because otherwise there seems to be no way of eradicating behaviors and attitudes of those dictator and his followers who hold such a belief that no matter what their attributes are, as long as they benefit their children, it is all just. In today's episode, we'll continue to cover this topic in two big segments. Our first segment covers on economic ties between terrorist SAC and Russia. In order to increase two countries' trade and investments between Myanmar and Russia, first business-to-business dialogue was held virtually in the afternoon of 28 September 2021 at 1:30 Myanmar time. According to the news published by the Ministry of Investment and Foreign Economic Relations of the terrorist SAC, the two countries had discussed to exempt taxes on trading and export products, and to invest in mining, banking, insurance, energy and natural gas, agriculture and livestock, and food processing industries. From Myanmar military terrorist side, Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Investment and Foreign Economic Relations, and the representative members of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Planning and Finance, Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Irrigation, Ministry of Natural Resources and Environmental Conservation, Ministry of Energy and Electricity, Ministry of Commerce, Central Bank of Myanmar, the Republic of the Union of Myanmar Federation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry, UMFCCI, and its affiliated associations, Myanmar Banks Association, Myanmar Rice Federation, Myanmar Fertilizer Seed and Pesticide Entrepreneurs Association, Myanmar Fishery Products, Processors and Exporters Association, Myanmar Fruit, Flower and Vegetable Producer and Exporter Association, Myanmar Oil and Gas Services Association, Myanmar Food Producers and Exporters Association, and Myanmar Federation of Mining Association were among the attendees of the meeting. From Russia's side, the representatives from Myanmar-Russia Friendship Association and the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of the Russian Federation, and relevant personnel and businessmen from the Committee of Economic Cooperation with Countries of Asia and Oceania, from Siberian Association for International Cooperation with Asia, from Embassy of Russian Federation joined the event. Reportedly, in total, there were around 200 participants in this dialogue. On 25 October of 2021, U Tan Aung Chaw, Deputy Minister for Investment and Foreign Economic Relations of the regime, had a meeting with Mr. Andrei Lunak, Counselor of Economic and Commercial Affairs from the Embassy of the Russian Federation to Myanmar, further discussed on to organize supplementary meetings based on the results of the first dialogue, to hold second Myanmar-Russia B2B dialogue, and to sign the bilateral strategy for the development of future economic cooperation. According to the news reported on the date of 27th of October 2021 by the state-run newspapers called New Light of Myanmar, the Memorandum Understanding MOU on promoting Myanmar-Russia bilateral trade and economic was signed Myanmar-Russia Friendship Association and Myanmar-Russia Economic Development Association. Though Myanmar-Russia bilateral trade between 2019 and 2020 with just around $60 million, the terrorist SAC has been making efforts to strengthen ties through promoting trade and investment. Since the attempted coup, the regime is planning to rerun the establishment of No. 2 steel factory in Taungji Township, which construction had been on hold due to its less potential in success during the NLD administration in March 2017. Furthermore, it was reported on 14 October 2021 that U Aung Tan, Deputy Minister for the Ministry of Energy and Electricity of the regime, attended the Russia Energy Forum and discussed on the construction of hydropower and plant in Myanmar. General Zolminton, spokesperson of the military regime, told the Mainichi Shimbun news agency on 5th of October that many strategic and comprehensive initiatives with Russia have been developed during the military SAC administration. Our second segment is about military ties between the military regime and Russia. Mr. Thomas Andrews, UN Special Rapporteur on the situations of human rights in Myanmar, made a claim in February, and I quote, "Despite the evidence of the military junta's atrocity crimes being committed with impunity since launching a coup last year, UN Security Council members, Russia and China continue to provide the Myanmar military junta with numerous fighter jets, armored vehicles, and in the case of Russia, the promise of further arms." It highlights that Russia has been exporting weapons to Myanmar while the international community has imposed sanctions against the military SAC. It is, in fact, Mi-35, Russia-made airplanes, which were used by the regime to drop bombs and murder civilians who are defending themselves against the terrorist military forces. Simon Westerman, a researcher from the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, stated that from 2014 to 2019, 50% of the ammunitions bought by the terrorist SAC were from China, and these included military vessels, jet planes, weaponized drones, armored vehicles, and air defense system, whereas Russia supplied 17% of the regime's military equipment, and majority of these were fighter aircrafts and jets. From 2010 to 2019, Myanmar military had bought $2.4 billion worth of military weapons and ammunitions, where $1.3 billion went to China and $807 million was spent to buy from Russia. Among the ammunitions bought from Russia were Su-30MK remote-controlled aircraft, MiG-29, JF-17 fighter jets, including training aircrafts K-8, Yak-130, and G-120TP. Looking at the records since from 2001, Russia sold 4 MiG-29 aircrafts to Myanmar military. Back in 2002, 10 aircrafts were bought and the military relations between the two countries had been improved to the point where Russia MiG Aircraft Corporation Office was established in Myanmar in 2006. The ammunitions and aircrafts bought by Myanmar military from Russia since in January just before the coup into 2021 included weapons for air forces which enable for the forces to use them at night times as they would in the broad daylight. The military leader Min Aung Hlaing went on business trip to Russia for a week from 20th June in 2021. Though he was not allowed to meet with Russian President Putin, he was welcomed by Russian Defense Minister and Russian Security Council Chairman. Everyone is aware of the fact that during the trip, Russian Military Academy offered honorary professor title to Min Aung Hlaing. During last year, that Medal Day or Marching Day event, which was held on 27th March 2021, the military displayed its Russia-made military weapons such as T-72 and BRDM tanks, MiG-29, Yak-130 fighter aircrafts, Mi-24, Mi-25, Mi-17 jet planes before many Russian military leaders as they were attending the event. Among the military weapons by which the SAC forces used to murder civilians mercilessly and indiscriminately consists of Russian-made weapons. In the current cases of airstrikes by the SAC in the Korean state, the regime forces have targeted civilians by extensively using Mi-35 fighter airplanes and Yak-130 aircrafts, which are widely known as flying tanks. According to the information from several news outlets, Myanmar military also participated in the international military sport competitions such as tank biathlon, sea cup, sniper frontier, airborne platoon, arm of culture organized by Russia. The Myanmar Witness Organization made a report that Russia made BRDM-2M 4x4 tank vehicles were arrived Thilawa port in Yangon on 24th January 2020, and it is yet to confirm whether these were bought from or donated by Russia. Conclusion: these are the compilation of some military and economic ties between terrorist SAC who robbed the authority and power from the civilian-appointed government and Russia, who is currently invading Ukrainian territories. Nevertheless, the political commentators pointed out that it is yet to be seen how it relates to political schemes behind this military and economic partnership. One thing is for sure that not only by invading Ukraine, but also by breeding power madness leader like Min Aung Hlaing in Myanmar, Putin has initiated his steps in expanding his power towards Asia. When the dictators commit their cruel acts by using the military weapons, those who stand for democracy, human rights, and humanity are the civilians, including next generations who were born into the times of the most informed period of humankind, and those governments who value peace and human rights. Nevertheless, there is a point to be made. When peace or dialogues of peace are just merely repeated without any actions, but when on the other side, this very peace and human values we so desire are being alarmingly threatened by the military weapons, powers, and greed, then we all need to be aware of the fact that this situation could turn out to be as what the poet Mo Hlaing wrote in a poem. If we fail to create the world without wars, our children will face the war without the world.
PVTV ကမြို့တော်လိုင်းရေးဆိုင်ရာအစီအစဉ်ကောင်းတွေကိုရည်စည်တင်ဆက်ပေးနေရှိပါတယ်။ PVTV ကထုတ်လွှင့်တင်ဆက်ပေးနေတဲ့အစီအစဉ်တွေကို PVTV ရဲ့တရားဝင် YouTube Channel ဖြစ်တဲ့ youtube.com/c/PVTV မြန်မာကို Subscribe လုပ်ကြည့်ရှုပေးကြရဖြင့်တော်လိုင်းကိုတစ်သက်တအားဖုန်းမှုပြည်ပြီးပေးနိုင်ပြီဖြစ်ကြောင်းသတင်းအောင်ပါလိုက်ပါတယ်ရှင်။စိတ်ရကလစ်တွေနဲ့တော်လိုင်းရေးကိုနိုင်တဲ့ဘက်ကထိတ်ဆက်အားဖြစ်လိုက်ကြအောင်ပါ။အရေးတော်ပုံအောင်ရမည်။